Hey guys, it's Mastercard and welcome back to another video. Before we get into the video, I'm just going to ask you this question. What would you do if somebody walks up to you and give you $200 to go pick any smartphone? For me, I'm going to go with the POCO X3 because I think it's one of those phones that was released in 2020 that you get true value for your money. And after using this phone for about 3 months, I'm here to give you my full review why I think the POCO X3 is the budget smartphone of the year. If this is your first time here and you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly click on that subscribe button below and also click the bell button to get notifications when I post new videos. This will help me grow and encourage me make amazing content like this. Now let's get into the video. One of my favorite tech YouTubers, MKBHD, said, "Good phones are getting cheap and cheap phones are getting good." The first part of the statement is not really true, but the second part is where I really agree with. Cheap phones are really getting good. And you see, the POCO X3 comes at the price of $200 and it gives you real value for your money. You get a 120Hz refresh rate, 5000 mAh battery, you get a full HD display, as well as the new Snapdragon 730G processor. The design of the POCO X3 stands out in 2020 with that camera bump that houses the quad camera setup. This bump, while being very eye-catchy, could be my least favorite thing about the POCO X3. You also get a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which is an amazing add-on, and I would love to see a lot of phone manufacturers add in 2021. Even at its $200 price tag, the POCO X3 doesn't feel like a cheap device. You still get that premium feel and a sick looking glossy finish. The POCO X3 feels light even with the 5000 mAh battery, and coming in at a weight of 215 grams, it feels like paper compared to my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and it's a bit more comfortable to hold. The display is where the POCO X3 sets itself aside from other budget smartphones this year. You get a 1080 by 2400 full HD LCD display with a 120Hz refresh rate, and this right there is the killer. The 120Hz display gives a different feel to the experience. Whether it be gaming or scrolling on social media, watching movies on YouTube, there's a different level of responsiveness and smoothness you cannot understand till you use a display that's not 60Hz. At 6.67 inches, I think it's a very decent display size. You can enjoy a lot of content and games with that large screen display. Even though it's not an AMOLED display, I still get 450 nits of brightness and HDR10 on the POCO X3. The viewing angles are great, the colors are vibrant and properly represented. Coming to the software, this is one area which you might get some issues on the POCO X3. The POCO X3 runs on Android 10 out of the box and MIUI 12, which is Xiaomi's custom UI running on it. You also get the POCO Launcher, which is a lightweight theme that keeps the UI looking as close as possible to stock Android. But even with that, there are few things that make the experience a bit tacky. One would be the bloatware and unnecessary apps that comes pre-installed. While you are able to uninstall some of them, the rest of them you'd have to live with. Another big complaint on Xiaomi devices would be the continuous ad that's being served everywhere in the phone. But this is a trade-off that customers would have to live with most of these low-end devices. The Snapdragon 732G processor on the POCO X3 is an 8nm octa-core chipset, and the performance has been really good. I haven't experienced any lag or performance issues using it for the past few months, and coupled with the Adreno 618 GPU, the gaming experience on the POCO X3 has been such a delight. Taking a look at numbers, we get 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gig UFS 2.1 storage, so you should get some pretty good read and write speed here. All around, the performance of the POCO X3 is much better than any other mid-range device I've tested this year. Gaming on the POCO X3 is such an absolute delight. With the Snapdragon 732G processor being a gaming processor and coupled with the 120Hz display, you get a very good gaming experience. I tested out a couple of games and you get a great gameplay, void of any lag, and you get to play at the max frame rate. For games like Need for Speed and Call of Duty, you get to play them at high quality, and with the inbuilt FPS meter in the POCO X3, you can get to monitor the refresh rate and the frame rate. I found the refresh rate and frames per second to be dynamic during gameplay, reaching up to 100 frames per second and steady 120Hz refresh rate. The POCO X3 sports a stereo speaker setup. You get a speaker grill at the bottom with an additional cutout at the top. At first, I did not think this was a speaker, But after someone pointed it out on my channel, I discovered it was a speaker. So thank you, Adreno Eugene. I hope I didn't butcher your name. I appreciate you for watching and commenting on my channel. That being said, if you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly hit on that subscribe button. A sub to the channel would really make my year. Back to it. The sound coming out of the POCO X3 makes the gaming experience even better. The audio is clear and quite loud. The camera is one part of the POCO X3 I have tested out extensively. I did a camera comparison of the stock camera and Gcam, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description or you can check the card above. The POCO X3 sports a 20 megapixel selfie camera, and I would say for a budget device, the quality is decent. You get great quality images from the camera, though it might not be flagship level, but it's still a great camera. At the rear, you have a quad camera setup with a 64 megapixel main sensor and a 13 megapixel ultra wide sensor. These two cameras combined together give great images. At night, the camera does its best to provide great quality images as the ones you're currently seeing now. And I think at the price, they're really great quality. For videos, you can shoot up to 4K 30 frames per second, and this video you're watching was shot on the POCO X3. For power, the POCO X3 comes with a 5160 mAh battery with 33 watt fast charging that can charge from 0 to 50% in about 30 minutes, which is incredible. You will take some power dips when gaming, and for serious gaming with 120Hz refresh rate turned on, you would get away with 19-hour screen on time before you need to charge it. For regular day usage like light gaming, using social media and YouTube, you could go a day or two without having to charge your phone, which is super impressive. So all around, I think the POCO X3 has to be the best budget smartphone for 2020. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, drop some comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Taking